Boris Johnson has declared that the UK is past the peak of the coronavirus outbreak and said that he will set out a comprehensive plan next week for gradually lifting the lockdown. But his announcement came with a warning that the country mustn't lose control and risk a second spike of the virus. It was the first time the Prime Minister led the daily briefing since himself becoming ill with COVID-19. Amongst the measures being considered to restart the economy are the reopening of schools and of public transport. Mr Johnson also said that face coverings could be useful as part of the strategy. This is the latest data, which suggests that deaths peaked in the middle of April and have been falling gradually since then. A further 674 deaths linked to the virus were recorded in the last 24 hours. That takes the total number of UK deaths of people who tested positive for the virus in hospitals, care homes and in the community to 26,771. Our political editor Laura Kunsberg reports.
Our doors have been closed for 38 days. In city, country, life hidden away, our streets fell silent. Behind this door now, decisions must be taken about what's next, with perhaps the worst behind us.
Good afternoon. I can confirm today that for the first time we are past the peak of this disease. We're past the peak and we're on the downward slope.
But on his own return to these now routine press appearances, the Prime Minister was plain there is no easy or quick way out.
We've come under what could have been a vast peak, as though we've been going through some huge alpine tunnel. And we can now see the sunlight and the pasture ahead of us. And so it is vital that we do not now lose control and run slap into a second and even bigger mountain.
You'll set out an exit route, but next week, and it won't happen fast. Guided by the crucial R infection rate, how quickly the disease passes from person to person. It's gone down, but must stay below 1 to control the infection.
Keeping the R down is going to be absolutely vital to our recovery, keeping the reproduction rate of the disease down. And we can only do it by our collective discipline and working together.
Like the Prime Minister himself, Debbie Clifford in Cheltenham struggled with the virus in intensive care. She feared she'd lose her life.
I can't tell you how I feel about the loss of, well, friends, the 4 people who died on my ward the day that I got well, the fact that I had to mentally say goodbye to people that I knew potential I thought I'd never see again. The lockdown can't stop.
There's been huge suffering to people's health, but also to the country's wealth. Many people are very, very worried about making ends meet. By continuing with lockdown, are you telling the public that the economy just has to wait?
We mourn for every life lost, and we mourn for the economic damage as well that the country is sustaining, and for people's the dreams of people's that they're seeing shattered in their businesses, their anxieties about their jobs. We totally understand that. If we're to bounce back as strongly as I think we can, that we don't have a second bout of this, a really second bad spike, because that would really do the economic damage.
There was a promise, though, of a plan next week and a hint of how a new normal might look.
Face coverings will be useful, both for epidemiological reasons, but also for giving people confidence that they can go back to work.
Some jobs, though, have already gone for good. Billy Hunt, a plumber, lost his on Tuesday. He's looking for work now where he lives, near Bury St Edmunds, to support his partner and little girl.
Thank you. This past month, I have been furloughed and then made redundant. The position that this has put me in has made me feel completely worthless. It's made me worry about every little thing, where I'm going to get this money from. I really don't have any avenues to turn down in that sense. I don't really know what to do, to be honest.
Economic distress is one of the reasons why the opposition is pushing for answers.
Well, up until now, the government's reply to me has been, we're not going to produce a plan. So I'm glad they've changed their mind. I'm glad that our challenge has borne fruit. We will see a plan. We'll look at it in good faith next week, to see what the plan is and have discussions with the government.
Lockdown's already changed so many lives. Andy Gower in Milton Keynes has 3 kids.
Sit next to you, Princess.
And stage 3 cancer.
Yeah.
His treatment's on hold, although the NHS is meant to be opening up.
Coronavirus has taken away the resources. If I don't get the operation, it means that I might die. I don't see why the NHS see my life as less important than somebody with coronavirus.
The rate of infection may be fading for now, but a disease that emerged thousands of miles away is, in one way or another, for each of us, already close to home.
And Laura joins me now. Laura, a glimmer of hope from the Prime Minister, but a very cautious one.
Certainly, Rita. I mean, look, passing the peak of the disease is an important moment, suggesting that the government is ready to say to all of us that the infection itself, this virus, is past its most aggressive phase in our country, at least for now. But it certainly isn't the end of this story because, of course, most immediately, there are still people falling ill. There are, of course, still families worried tonight about relatives who may be in hospital with the virus or people who are just receiving news of losing a loved one. There are, of course, also people whose lives have been changed for the worse because of the impact of the lockdown, people who are worried about what the next few months might hold for them. And of course, still a worry because although we are perhaps at the end of the first phase, the steps that we take to the next phase of getting through this as a country are far from certain. The Prime Minister, of course, was keen to emphasise today that we did not end up in the worst case scenario that was predicted. But there have still been many bumps in the last few weeks. There have been things that go wrong, and we're still in a very uncertain phase. An exit strategy of a kind is promised to be spelt out next week. But this is a journey of many, many miles, and passing the peak is an important step, but only one.
Laura, many thanks. Our political editor, Laura Kunsberg there.